David, are you introducing Oded? Oded, are you introducing yourself this morning as our honored guest?
No, I just want to thank him very much for coming. I appreciate his accepting our invitation, and you're good to go. Thanks, Oded.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen. It's really a true honor and a pleasure to meet with you this morning, but also to see so many familiar faces on the screen. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot of you for quite some time, and we truly hope that this Omicron thing is going to be behind us sooner than later, and you'll be able to come and join us at the JCC and participate in some of the future programs that we're planning on putting together. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet with me in person or virtually, my name is Oded Kraus. Believe it or not, it's been almost 10 months since I joined the Katz JCC, and really, I can't believe it. It's seems like just yesterday it was April, and I walked to the JCC for the first time, and time flew by, and so many things have happened. But I can tell you that I still carry the same excitement and the same vision and mission that I have to lead this JCC past this whole pandemic era, and really bring it back to the glory days, to some of the great things that we've done in the past. I'm really excited about that. For those of you who didn't have the chance to pick on that yet, I do have an accent. I was born. Can you tell? Can you tell?
No.
No. I was very nice. I was born and raised in Israel. At the age of 18, I went to the army. I served in the army for 5 years. I was a company commander in a prison that was very similar to Guantanamo Bay. So at the age of 19, 20, I was in charge of hundreds of people and hundreds of terrorists on every given weekend that I was on duty, and really learned the aspects of working together in a team, and understand that not at any given situation you have the most qualified people to get the job done, but really to try to see how you can get the most out of them, and really continue to progress with the tools that we're given. So I served in the army for 5 years, and then after the army, decided to take a little vacation from life. I took a nine months vacation from life, and I traveled to New Zealand, Australia, and Thailand, and fell in love with the whole area of hospitality management, lodging, car rentals, backpackers, all of those great things. And I came back home on a very sad day. I came back home on September 11, 2001. And we were probably one of the only planes that left Thailand. We flew from Thailand to Tel Aviv. They were just too scared to keep the plane over there after it happened. We had no idea what happened. We knew that something happened, but we didn't know the magnitude of the event. And when we landed in Tel Aviv, it was a completely different world. And it was kind of sad in a way. You know, when you go to an airport, there's always so much action. You see planes are coming and trucks and people. The airport was dead in Tel Aviv. We were on the only flight. Only then, when we landed, realized what happened. And I was trying to find my space in Israel, and I was really not too successful. And I told my dad that I had this grandiose idea that I wanted to go back to Australia and study hospitality management. And my dad point blank said, absolutely not. And that was the end of that conversation. And he said, that's very un-Zionist of you to do something like that. And my dad is probably the most important person in my life. And I listened to him. And how the way the cookie crumbles, he pulled his back, and he stayed home for a few days, and he read all the classified in the paper, and he filed hospitality management studies in the United States. And that's really what brought me over here in 2002. I went to a small school in Washington, Connecticut, transferred to Endicott, which is right outside of Boston, where I got my bachelor's and master's in business, and start working for the Westin Hotel. That's how I met my wife. My wife is a culinary chef. She graduated from a culinary institute in Mexico City, and she came to work at the Westin. And I had to work hard for that. Don't think it was easy. You know, don't let those looks fool you. But I had to work hard for the missus that I have right now. In 2009, the economy was not doing wonderful, and they went really down pretty quick. I got a phone call from the vice president of admission at Endicott, asking me any interest in coming back to your alma mater which I responded absolutely, and I started my my career in the admission industry. The reason that I tell you the story, it's really how it all ties up to the Katz JCC and what I do today. So when I started working in the admission office, my territory was New York and New Jersey. And there was one day I had a visit scheduled for Cherry Hill East, and I got stuck on traffic on Crescent and Springdale. And I'm thinking to myself, what is that place there in the corner? You know, there's so many cars coming and going. And after my visit to East, I made myself a point to make sure that I stop by and take a look. What was that place? That's where it was the first time that I actually drove to the parking lots, so the American flag, and saw the Israeli flag. And I'm thinking to myself, I wish that one day I'll be able to bring my family to such a community. Fast forward April, I came to the JCC, and it was like almost destiny in a way, and going full circle with that. So that's a little bit about myself. Married, 2 kids. My daughter Sarah, she's 3.5, and my son Sammy is 1.5 years. Both of them are at the Sarah Isdainer school at the JCC. They're doing really, really well. Unfortunately, they're quarantined right now because someone in the classroom was exposed, but that's the nature of what we're dealing with right now. But that's really the first topic that I wanted to talk to you about today is really COVID, and it hasn't been easy. You know, I remember when I first came to the JCC in April, it was difficult, and then with the double vaccination and people are really getting back to normal, we saw a spike. And I remember the first time that we actually hold the couples club dinner, and the excitement and the tears, you know, for some of the people who actually came to the JCC for the first time for that event. And then going into September, when Delta started, we started to see a decline in some of the participation in program. And with the Omicron right now, there's a significant decline in some of the people who are actually coming to the building. We as a JCC, we consider ourselves as a different agency, and the program and services that we're serving for the Jewish community in the area, in many cases, are life-saving. If you're taking a look for people who actually can come to the Parkinson program, for the people who are actually coming to the armchair yoga, or for any other classes that we're holding, this is really what many of them are living for the opportunity to get outside of the house in the morning and have those kind of activities. So the JCC staff, together with the board, we made the decision that we're not stopping any of the services. We're resuming business as usual. We're going to be very, very responsible about that. You know, some masks are still required. We're not allowed any food and beverage, so there's really no reason for people to take the masks off. But we will continue to offer the services and programs that we offer in the past. So starting in February, lifelong learning will be coming back. We'll start hosting all sorts of guest speakers. We're gonna assume business as usual. This is really, really important for us. And while a lot of the staff is still working from home, I can report back to you that the vast majority of the staff at the JCC are back in the offices. They requested to be back in the offices. This is how much they care about the agency. This is how much they care about the members. And I'm very, very proud of the team that we have in place. So that's a little bit about COVID and some of the things that are taking place at the JCC. I don't know if many of you knew, but before I received the position, both of my top manager, Brian Adler and Beth Siegel, both interviewed for my position. And the board decided to go with a different direction and give the position to me. And there was a tremendous amount of disappointment, both in Brian and in Beth. So it came as no surprise that in December at some point, I was really, really excited that Brian was able to get a promotion, and he found himself at the JCC in Margate. And Brian and I continue to be very, very good friends, and we continue to talk, and I wish him nothing but the best. But for him to leave after 27 years was a major loss for the JCC. And I'm happy to report that we're able to replace Brian with a fine lady with roots to Cherry Hill as well. Her 2 kids graduated from East. And I think it would be great for you, maybe Phil, in some of the next meetings, really an opportunity to get to know her, because I know that a lot of you were having a great connection with Brian, and I want really to make sure that we follow that and continue with that tradition, continue with those connections. So that's really the first thing. I think Barney, you had the chance to meet with Ellen on Friday. Fine young lady. We're excited about that.
It was very, very productive conversation, and I look forward to great things happening very shortly.
So that's in the area of fundraising and development. So we have a new lady at the helm, and we're very, very excited about that. The second position is our Chief Program Officer. Beth Siegel was in that position. Most of you know her. She was really involved in camp and then became the Chief Program Officer. Beth announced that she's retiring just around the same time. I'm very excited to report that next Monday, not this coming Monday, a week from Monday, we have a new young lady that is starting with us by the name of Lori Rubin. Lori is coming to us from the JCC in Harrisburg, where she was the Associate Executive Director over there. She's from the Philadelphia area. Maybe some of your kids and grandkids might know her from the PJ Library involvement in that area. And she's going to be not the Chief Program Officer. She's coming to the JCC as the Associate Executive Director. The reason for the change of those titles, I don't know if many of you knew, but in September, I did have COVID and I went down pretty bad. I was vaccinated, didn't really help. I was out for 3 weeks. And there was really huge confusion. Who's in charge? Who's doing what? So Lori is really going to be the number 2 in the organization. So you know where to go. And Lori will supervise areas that are close to your heart in the area of the adult department, the school, camp, and fitness and wellness. Those will be some of the programs that Lori will see. We're in the process right now of hiring a new director of membership and really starting a whole different new marketing campaign to make our services a little bit more approachable and accessible for people of all populations. So just a little bit about transitions. I'm very, very excited to share with you because I think that is really, really relevant that the JCC was able to secure just a few days ago a $500,000 gift. The donor is still to remain anonymous, and that will go towards endowment designated specifically to the adult department. So there are two $250,000 donation. The first one will go towards lifelong learning and the capacity of program services, scholarships really make lifelong learning process more accessible to some of the people who necessarily does have the fees. So that's really going to be the first one. And the second one is when you come to the JCC right now, you see there's a beautiful art exhibit on the wall, but was a really, really long time there was nothing on the walls. So the second one will be towards art exhibitions that will take in the JCC, and that will go towards arts, culture, music, painting, sculpture, and some receptions and discussion that will go along those lines. Generally speaking, in the adult department, one of my goals, especially with the arrival of Lori, is to bring a little bit more Jewish back into the J. And that's something that is really, really important for me. And create a lot of different programs and services for families and kids of all ages, regardless of where they are in their life, and then add a little Jewish connection into it. So events can be anywhere in the area of a jazz night and some connection to Judaism, or bourbon tasting, or MasterChef competition, or things along those nature. But really the connection to Judaism is going to be really, really important for us. We're looking to increase membership and still be open for everyone and be very, very diversified. But we're looking for those membership dollars to be able to help us support some of the Jewish programming that would like to have to take place in our JCC. So that's really the change and the direction that we would like to go. So those are some of the changes that have been taking place at the JCC right now that I wanted to share with you. There are more coming. For a lot of you who were able to participate in the Arts, Books, and Culture Festival that we had just in November, one of the events included a wind ensemble that came and played in our social hall. And as a result of that, Michael Ludwig, which is one of the conductor of the Philly Pops, is a Cherry Hill native. He would like to bring a 6-concert series into our JCC. So that's really, really exciting. That can bring a lot of attention. Would like to make it accessible for everyone. One of the programs that we're looking to implement within that one will be a concert for people with special needs. All right, people with disabilities, so they can actually touch the instruments, listen to them, and really setting up the expectation that it's not going to be a typical concert when everyone is sitting in quiet and listening. That might be a little bit different, you know, with some of the population that will come into that event. So those are things that are important for us. We're excited about them. And I think I apologize, Phil, but I took a little bit more than, and David, I took a little bit more than the 5-10 minutes that were allotted to me. So I'm going to stop right there and open it for some questions if there are any.
Well, thank you very much. No problem at all about the time. You can have as much time as you'd like. We did have one question from a member who's not here. Could you talk a little bit about security?
Yes. So we're very, very fortunate to have an in-house within the Federation security team. And the security team is led by, I'm going to butcher his name with my accent, so I'm going to ask for forgiveness in advance. The security team is led by Bud Monahan, that used to be the chief of police in Cherry Hill for almost 18 years. And Bud just joined us in the Federation just 3 or 4 months ago, together with Sean Redmond. And Sean Redmond has been a lieutenant within the Cherry Hill Police. So we're very, very lucky to have them on board. Also very lucky to have very trained professionals who are actually the security professionals who are within the building on all the time. All of them were in a high leadership position within their own departments. That they're armed and they are able to answer to any situation that might happen. We also implemented a new project within the JCC. I know it is annoying in some instances. The building is pretty much locked. You know, there are a lot of areas that you cannot access without a card or without the right without the right credentials. I know it's annoying, but when you think about it from a security perspective, God forbid something happens, we can lock a complete section of the building and no one can really go in and out. And that can isolate in the situation, God forbid something happen. I am meeting with Sean and Bud tomorrow morning to discuss a program for the entire community. It's going to be a movie, and we're trying to decide what movie it might look like, followed by a discussion, follow some of the events that take place in Texas last week. So really want to make sure that we educate the people of what's available, what to do, so that we probably will have to have some details out to you within the next few days. Phil, does that answer the question?
It answered it for me. We've got some more questions. I see hands raised. Len?
You mentioned a chair yoga class. I go every Monday for water aerobics, and I'd like to go to a chair yoga class. Can you tell me when that meets?
From the top of my, I don't know, but Len, I'll make sure that Robin will get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Okay, Nelson.
Odell, thank you for being here. Okay, before you arrived here, there was a plan to expand certain areas of the JCC, especially the fitness area. The reason I'm asking this question is that long hallway going down to the fitness area. They had a way around that for those people that are disabled. What happened to that plan? I know they had the money available.
So the money was spoken for, but never made available. And then when the pandemic happened, I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any way, shape, or form. That's not the way I am. The JCC carried a significant amount of deficit, you know, as a result of the decline in membership. We're still in the reds and plans of getting the JCC out of the reds, probably with the 2023 budget year. So it is my hope that if we can get membership to where it should be and where it needs to be, we'll be able to take another look on those expansion plans. But you know, with the cost, as you can see, you go to the store, you go to the gas station, everything actually quadruple in prices in some cases. I think those plans need to be on hold. That being said, your point about making the fitness center a little bit more accessible, I've heard that, And this is something that I'm looking into right now. Maybe allow access through the pool or something like that. Make the distance a little bit closer for some of those people. So the answer is probably no on the expansion. We are talking about some other options.
Thank you.
And Scott.
Yes, my wife did her physical therapy there, and it was wonderful. However, on the way out, as you exit the building, the door to exit the building is actually fairly difficult to use if somebody's in a walker. Apparently, they said that you had to push the door first and then hit the button to have it automatically open. And then she was told, oh, no, we're not going to fix that. It's for security reasons, which I found quite odd.
That's very true, Scott. There was a problem with the door. It was fixed, both to enter and to exit. But there were a few weeks where you can press for the life of you and nothing would happen. So that was fixed probably within the past 10 days, 2 weeks or so. So that is functioning right.
That's the correct time frame. Thank you very much.
Yep. Richard.
Yeah, Odell, I wish you the best as the new executive director. I know you have an interesting background, and I'm sure it'll all work out well once we get past a good chunk of this Omicron. I just want to say I've been to the chair exercise that I held Monday at 11 o'clock, and I wonder if the yoga might be Wednesday at 11. Somehow I saw that on the schedule. Just want to tell Len, but it's really great. You have a woman there, Christine, who is absolutely amazing. And I consider myself to be in halfway decent shape, even though I kind of doubt that these days. At least I used to be. And when I finished from that class, I've had a good workout. I just wanted to mention that to you. It's one of, and the other thing I'd like to say, even though maybe it's a little inappropriate for our men's club, I don't know how many of our members belong to the JCC, but I really think we, maybe somehow you could make a push to get more of our members to belong. Phil, I don't know if there's anything you can do as our president, but I think that's really important.
Yeah, I'm a member.
No, but I'm sure you are, but I don't know how many of our members are members. We have, almost 100 members this year or close to it. And I think we should take a poll, find out how many don't belong. There might be financial reasons for that, but I agree with Oded. Definitely, we need to get more people to join. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Richard, first and foremost, thank you for saying that. I'm not going to get involved in the poll. I don't want to put a pressure on anyone within that group and getting into the financials. There are scholarships. There are help. There are several adult categories that can help with that membership burden, and I'll be more than happy to help you in that aspect. But really, the things that I wanted to take the most out of your comment is really to thank you for talking about Christine. I can tell you that as a new exec, one of the things that overwhelmed me the most is the quality of the staff and the people who work in the JCC. You cannot take it for granted, especially not nowadays. There really, really are amazing and incredible people working in that organization that make the difference in people's life every day. So thank you very much for bringing it up. It is much appreciated.
Good.
Louis.
So my question has to do with bringing more Jewish into the JCC. And sort of the core of the JCC movement is that it should be a place for not Judaism, but for Jewish people and Jewish culture. And how do you see, sort of building on that in such a way that it will also still be attractive to the many non-Jewish members, that they don't feel alienated, but they can still, see this place as sort of a thriving center for Jewish expression in ways that don't belong necessarily in synagogues, that whole other range of Jewish life?
I think it's a great question, and that's a part of the discussion that we're having among our team as well, really how to bring Jewish without segregating ourselves. And the truth to be told, there are a lot of people in our community that are still convinced that if you're not Jewish, you have no place in the JCC. A lot. And how can we take that message out and really be able to increase our membership while still providing that Jewish content. I think some of the events can have a Jewish relationship and a Jewish content, and some of them might not. All right. I think that we can do significantly more around the holidays. So there was a Hanukkah event, and there will be a Purim event that I encourage all of you to participate. It will take place on March 19. It's an illusionist. He told me his name, but then he took it away, so I can't remember. So all of those things will happen, but I don't see any reason for anyone from the outside, if we're delivering the message that this place is open for all. I don't see any reason why people should not come to participate in some of those programs, the same way that our school has never been more diverse, our camp have never been more diverse. But I think we should be able to offer all of those programs outside of the synagogue, so you don't have to belong to a community, but this will be the home of the Jewish people. That's really, it's a very fine line that we're trying to figure out right now.
So I'm guilty of not having participated in activities at the J since shortly after the onset of Delta. But I enjoyed the upper tier of the gym, the walking area for many years. And I was aghast, stunned, and dismayed when I walked to the desk downstairs and asked if there was any way to enforce the masking rule among the people using the basketball and what do you call that racquetball thing that's popular, because they were refusing. They were refusing to wear their masks anywhere but on their chins. So I went back again a few months ago and tried. And again, the people who were in that area were wearing their masks on their chins. So I, have discontinued my membership. And I really think that part of security is knowing how well enforced the masking rules are, because I watched it on multiple occasions being ignored with no effort to enforce it.
Tough situation, no matter what decision I'll try to make or I'll try to enforce here. 50% of the people will like my decision. 50% of the people are not going to like the position, and the other 50% will have both opinions. Depends on the occasion. Look, the JCC has a mask mandate right now. You have to wear your mask at any common area at the JCC, with the exception of when you're working out. The reason for that is that every other gym in the area, and that's the significant part of our membership, do not require any masking. So when we actually had the mask policy in place, we saw an immediate and significant drop in our membership, and the place got deserted when we worked so hard to get people back into the building and really worked so hard to have people coming back to the JCC, or rather than going to a lot of places. All of that hard work went away very, very quick.
Well, I really just want to comment then. Anybody who's at a high-risk age group is really being exposed to the most difficult circumstance of wanting to use the community center for services, but the community center intentionally exposing older, vulnerable people to the rapid, deep exhalations of people at exercise. The one contributor to spread that's known to spread the virus. So all the vaccination in the world, without those people either being in masks or being in controlled ventilation rooms, separated from every other room, exposes all participants. But thanks for the explanation.
And I will say, Oded, that for that little 1 or 2 week period that masks were required, that was the only time that I went back to the gym. And I haven't been back since. And I used to go every day, and I really miss it. And I'm very, very sad that there is no mask mandate. Rabbi, you have another question.
I don't go to the gym now. I used to be a gym rat. And since there isn't a mask mandate, it just isn't worth it. I do appreciate all the online classes, and I've been watching them on Zoom, particularly the Tai Chi. Just a sort of a follow-up from my earlier comment was that it is sort of my conviction that the culture of the Jewish people is as exciting as any other culture system in this world. And I think it's one of the attractions that we offer. It should not be seen as an obstacle for people to come in, but it's something that we can offer to the entire world. And it's something that I think we as the Jewish people should be proud of and want to share. And I think that's one of the functions of the JCC. It is a display of the greatness of our history and culture.
Well, I want to follow up on what the rabbi said, and I totally agree with him. But I'd like to see more affiliations or exhibit exchanges with organizations like the Jewish Museum in Philadelphia, or maybe some non-Jewish museums in Philadelphia and local area. That would be really interesting, especially for us people that can't go during the day. And I don't see it happening. Yeah, the Holocaust Museum is fantastic. We need it there. There's usually nobody there to talk to about what's in the museum. That's something else that should be looked at. And I know Helen's been out, and she's a fantastic person. But again, I encourage that to be open with lay people. Thank you.
That's what I think. Well said. And the whole notion of really bringing the Philly concert into Cherry Hill. That's really a portion of what we're trying to accomplish. 100%.
Number one, I'm a basketball player, and so I'm one of those people who are not wearing a mask, because if you're trying to wear a mask while running up and down on the basketball court, that's a health risk. I think that's a much greater health risk to me if I'm trying to exercise when I'm not able to breathe properly. The risk to those people who are walking on the walkway up above, when you're doing in a very well ventilated area with a very high ceiling and lots of diffusion. So I feel that the risks are very limited. On the topic of the basketball court, one of the main factors that are problems that we have is that the light that's coming from the windows is blinding. When you are playing in the mornings, they put up a diffuser, but it's only on half the window, and it really does not do an effective job of shielding it. Is there any ability to replace the blinds that were removed recently? And
well said, Ed. Those blinds were really disgusting, and they were all broken and totally out of shape. And we were promised that that new film that they put out there would be able to block the lights. It doesn't. No, so I have a call to the company to see what can be done. I witnessed that. I was there on Monday morning, not for basketball. I was there for the pickleball. It's something that we're working on right now. The film that was put there is not broke, especially this time of the year when the sun is low. Doesn't block any of the sun that's supposed to come in. So thank you for bringing it up.
Okay, and from a health standpoint, I'm sure that there's a medical advisory board for the JCC. I don't know if you've done any particulates to find out what the viral load is, but I don't believe it's very significant.
Ed, respectfully, we're not going to come to any decisions regarding the mask. Some people are against it. Some people are for it. We will be here till we're Jews, but Christmas will come before we're going to come into a conclusion. So I respectfully, I'd like to move on the mask. We talked about it at the board level almost every week. There's no right or wrong here. Just like you said right now, if you work with mask is bad. If you work without mask is bad. I wish there would be more guidelines from higher authority above the JCC at the state and the federal government, that will really set up the rules of what it really should be. That didn't come across that way, unfortunately. So we're just trying to make what's right for the JCC moving forward, for our membership, for the members. Um, and I learned from my 10 months at the JCC. Every decision that I make at the JCC, 50% of the members will like it, 50% of them will not going to like it. So I'm really trying to do what is in best interest of the agency and deal with the consequences and the fallouts. Yeah. Barney.
Good to see you again, Oded.
Always
Just a couple brief things. Nelson mentioned the Jewish Museum in Philadelphia, and that was a large part of the discussion I had with Ellen. Just want to let everybody know that we are now looking at the date of May 1st, where my wife and I will make the museum available to everybody in Southern New Jersey, and we'll work out the details shortly. And with Ellen now in place, I'm sure we will move forward. And one of the reasons we can, getting back to the virus very briefly, I follow the numbers perhaps far too carefully, compulsively, but in the last 2 weeks, New Jersey has gone from the second worst state in the nation to the third best state in the nation. The rates of virus have dropped dramatically in the last 2 weeks and looks like it's going to continue on that course. So whatever decisions we're making today, it's going to be totally different in about 2 weeks, and certainly within 30 days. I think we're going to be dealing with a different environment with regard to the virus. So a lot of the points that have been mentioned by my fellow physicians will be moot very quickly. And I think, as I say, very shortly, the board, you and the board will be changing the rules in a very favorable way.
I agree. We're constantly watching those rules, and we're trying to make the right decision. There's no malice in those decisions. We're trying to do what's in the best interest of the agency and its members. That's really the bottom line.
So there will be better days ahead.
Absolutely, no question.
Just a quick question. Ed Melman mentioned the fact that you have that the gym has very high ceilings, and that air circulation tends to go up. I noticed, in recent weeks, I've noticed that a number of major buildings, both in Philadelphia and in South Jersey, have upgraded their air handling systems so that they change the air in the building roughly every 30 minutes. Is that what is going on at the JCC?
Not as far as the 30 minutes out, but as far as the quality of the filters and the replacement, the answer is yes.
Thank you.
The question is why there's a little trailer in front of the parking. The Federation collaborated with an outside vendor to be able to provide COVID testings on our premises. So that's the reason for that trailer over there.
Do you know the hours?
No, not yeah. And I know there's some. It's not free testing. There's some significant costs there as well. So I'm not 100% sure.
In that case, Oded, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen,
for joining us and
thank you.
letting us in on what's happening.
Have a wonderful one. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. Very enlightening.
Mike?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Bengals all the way.
Bengals?
Check's in the mail. Next time I see you.
All right, bye-bye.
Oded, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Sure.
First, I wasn't sure are we still recognizing our speakers by giving them a 1-year membership?
Absolutely.
We should have done it. Forgot.
Yeah, I think we should do that, especially somebody of his position. And then I had a couple other things. I didn't know what the rest of your agenda was, but
no, please tell us what you have to share.
I wanted to give a final report on fantasy football. We concluded our season. Our first place winner was Dick Knopf and his grandson. And they had a great year, and they won $447.50. That's first place. And second place was Ed Stein and Alan, his son, and they won a little over 300. And Lloyd Kellner and his sons came third and won a little over 300 as well. The worst performing team, by the way, who is owned by one of our members who lives in Washington, D.C., they even won $30. So a very successful year. On a personal note, I wanted to mention that I had informed the league that I was planning on taking some time off from the league. I have reconsidered that.
Yay!
And I'm staying on as both an owner and the commissioner. And I'll be getting something out to the league. But if any of you are interested in being an owner of an entire team or part of a team, please let me know. We're looking to expand the league. Right now, I think we're at 15 teams, and we're looking at the possibility of splitting into 2 leagues. And that might be interesting. And then if that was the case, we would have our own Super Bowl, which I would call playing for the Kiddish Cup. Again, I'll get something out to the league, but I just want to let you know on that.
John, I just wanted to say that I'm glad you reconsidered. I didn't know what we were going to do without you or with you, either way, but we're really glad you're hanging in there.
I think, Dick, I think that's because you always beat me.
I don't know about that. It's my grandson that does the beating. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Oh, well.
Well, the only reason that Don decided to stay with it is we all voted to double his pay.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I did want to recognize Ed Stein. There were nominations to name him as the FJMC Man of the Year representative for the South Jersey Men's Club. He has declined the nomination, but that makes him no less deserving of it. So thank you, Ed.
Yeah, I think we can't assume that everybody knows that what we're talking about is Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs that we're part of has regions throughout North America, and we're part of the Middle Atlantic region that we refer to as MAR, and that I guess for must be close to 25 years they've had a Man of the Year from nominations from each club, and we don't always participate. I mean, we'll always go to the Man of the Year function, but we don't participate automatically, because just imagine 25 times of Man of the Year, eventually the criteria goes out the window. So sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. And this time we nominated with quite a few people making the suggestion, Ed, and I think it was well deserved. He's not as bad as everybody says. Right, Ed?
I agree with that.
Yeah. If I could, as long as I have the floor, Phil, if I could just say something else, is we have 3 things that are not really officially South Jersey Men's Club, but you have to be a member to participate. And one of the things is fantasy football. Another one is an investment club that's been around for, oh golly, probably at least 20 years. Mm-hmm. And the third thing was the Jewish Athletic Group that most of us used to participate in, but now it's just some young kids basically that are members, you know, kids in their 30s and 40s, probably some in their 50s. So that's something we could be proud of, because that still has ramifications throughout the Jewish community.
Thank you, Mike. And also thank you, Mike and Gary and everyone else who participated in putting together a summary of the history of South Jersey Men's Club. MAR, the Mid-Atlantic region, will be featuring South Jersey Men's Club as their featured club in their newsletter this upcoming month. So thank you very much for putting that together. Is there anybody else who has anything to share?
It's David. I want to let you know our speaker next month is Josh Perlman, who is the chief curator at the Weizmann National Museum of American Jewish History.
Ooh.
So it coincides somewhat, was discussed at the meeting today. So unless there's a glitch, he's speaker at the end of February.
Very nice.
Yeah, that sounds great. Len, you've got something.
I just wanted to remind everyone that on February 13th, Sunday, the Middle East Institute is hosting Ambassador Friedman. This could be either a live event or a virtual event. It hasn't been decided. There is an Israeli breakfast prior to that for people who want to be sponsors. And it's a wonderful opportunity to support the JCRC and support JCC. So that's on February 13th. And that's at 9, the breakfast is at 9:30. I think the program starts at 11. So check it out, please.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Ron Gruen. I'm a new member. I joined just a couple months ago. I was waiting for this activity and I retired June 30th. I've been a psychologist for 46 years. And finally, I have time for myself. And I was looking for an organization that I thought would give back, and you obviously do. And I'm looking forward to many of your activities, and the food bank sounds like a good one. I wasn't sure I got the date right, but I'm sure you'll be sending out notices and so forth. But it's really very nice for me to be here and to see all these new wonderful faces. Thank you.
I'm really glad we're getting in younger people. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. You don't know how old I am. See, I may look younger, but I'm really up there. I'm 77.
Oh, you're still a kid.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Ron, you came to the right place. A lot of us here need it.
I'm off duty. After 46 years, I'm off duty.
All right.
Off duty. But it's a pleasure to meet all of you. It really is. Thank you.
Welcome, Ron.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I don't want to be out of order here, but we have not had one word about getting a live breakfast. We at least have a word that it's on hold.
Yes, it is on hold. They're not doing food events at the
JCC,
which makes it really easy to say that we can't have a live breakfast. It's not, I mean, not even our call.
Hey, Phil, in addition to that, don't forget, or Dave, I meant to say, don't forget, every month that I send out, notice, there's that little tag right up front as to what the board's latest decision was based on whatever the criteria was regarding the live meetings.
So it's not for a lack of people wanting to get together in person at all. So, I mean, as soon as it can happen, it will happen. And even if it's a condensed meeting, where we don't have 60 guys in a room, I'm sure we're going to make it live as soon as possible.
It's been such a fluid situation that it goes back. I was clearing out a lot of old emails, thousands of them. And it was as far back as last March that we were talking about a live meeting being possible. But it pushed back further and further and further. And I think when we do have one eventually, the first couple at least will be hybrid, where some people can continue by Zoom and some people in person.
Unless it gets we're back in the spring or the summer and we can have an outdoor meeting. You know, I mean, that was a possibility for last year that we couldn't make happen, but that might be something that we look into for May, June, July.
And the last thing I'd like to say, and then I'll say nothing else other than goodbye, is that there's been a lot of call for when are we going to do the law breakfast, because it's over 2 years. And the importance of the law breakfast is it makes a connection between senior management and law enforcement on the county, city, municipal, state, and federal level much closer. So it's getting to be difficult to even maintain the relationships because of all the retirements that they've had over the last 2 years. And when and where we'll be able to do it, God only knows. So fingers are crossed.
Bob Greenberg has asked me to bring this up at the meeting. I had sent everyone else, all the board members, not the regular membership, a cover page that I attach to prospective members' application forms. And I'm pleased to report that I had 11 people responded to give me input, which was very helpful. But when I sat down to try to do it, I would have the Magna Carta. It was just too much information. You see that this is a paragraph with some contacts. And what I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that a few years ago, when Ed Silver got me into a headlock and made me the membership guy, I put this together, and I know that you can't read it, but it's the top 5 reasons to get along, to get involved with South Jersey Men's Club. And I've been giving that to prospective members. And I think that addresses everyone's concern with this cover letter. The purpose of the cover letter is when I thought that I was working on the mitzvah day at the JCC, I wanted to have something stapled to the application because the application is outdated only because of the address, not the dues or anything else. So if someone was speaking to someone and I wasn't there at the time, the cover letter would be stapled. But what I do is, and I'm sorry, it's redundant. I've mentioned this before. When a prospective member, someone's asked me to contact a prospective member, I call that member, I talk to him, get a little history, and I send him off a handwritten note. And in that note, I always include Stan for the money and Randy for the IT. And it seems to be efficient enough. And I just don't think that on a cover letter, it's appropriate to do a couple of pages of who we are. I take care of that. And when I meet with people, I use this as a note, as my notes. And recently, I've just met guys for coffee. And the upside of that is we don't mail shirts because it gets into the sizes. Everybody thinks they're a XX. So I bring the shirts to the meeting with that individual. I had just met with Ron Gruen, he's the last. And they get to pick out the shirt size predicated on the check. And Ron was prepaid. And we move on from there. It hasn't been an issue. Now, other people said, and Bob Greenberg pointed this out, that I shouldn't make it, this was being a little too Jewish, and we should tone down on its Jewishness. And then Bob showed me that that's not the way our rule book reads. So when I have a member that's a prospective member that is obviously not Jewish, I take the time to go back to my handwritten little note with the contacts. And of course, I'm one of the contacts. But I have to tell you that as a sales guy my whole life, we talk about benefits. Well, when you're trying to sell something, the number one benefit I have, or we have as a group, is our buffet. And I'm asked detailed questions. Is there a whitefish salad or whole whitefish? I mean, that's the conversations I'm getting. Now, I'm a food guy, so I love talking about food. I have no issue with this. But when it comes down to it, our biggest selling feature is the food. And when someone had brought up that we're overemphasizing the food, we're not. It's what brings people down $7, $8, now $8 for, and they call it a buffet. Those are not my words. Buffet, I would think that people would think the buffet was unlimited. Well, we are limited, but not by much. You can just get yourself to the point where you're you can't eat anymore. But the takeout, we're a little weak on. So I appreciate Bob pointing out that it's not appropriate not to do the Jewish, all the Jewish factors or theme of our club, and also Mike Perloff, who gave me a number of suggestions that I was so pleased to report that my top 5 of why to join our club, they were all in there. So I'm amazed that we had 8 new members just in the last few years, a few months without the buffet. So we're going in the right direction. Stan, I don't know the latest number. The last one you gave me was 78. Stan?
Yeah, it's probably closer in the 90s now.
In the 90s, okay.
In the 90s.
So a club that doesn't have any meetings or food, we're doing a hell of a job. And as far as our reputation, I mean, I only hear all these great things about the club, and I continue to get inquiries, and I follow them up. So that's my little explanation. Don?
I just wanted to mention too that the board approved us getting matching baseball caps that match the blue shirts that we're wearing, and it'll have the logo. Ed, you're welcome to comment on it, Ed. I think actually did the order, and the board will have to decide how those will be distributed. Ed, do you want to mention anything on that?
Yeah, the order was placed last week, and I got feedback. They should have something, they think, this week, I believe. So we should have hats as to what we do with them and when, without having meetings and so forth. But the next board meeting should decide how we're going to deal with the hats. Yeah.
Excellent, thanks. Len, it looks like you still have a question.
Phil, I am down to 8 cards from the official cards from the club. So if they are in the pipeline, fine. If not, I'm just letting you know that I have 8 cards left, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll get together with you, Len.
Oh, Phil, could I just take a second? When you get Randy's notice about the meetings and you get the link for Zoom, if you decide you're going to share that with someone and they're going to be on with our meeting, whether it's your wife or a good friend that you're asking possibly to join, could you just let us know? You could let Phil know, or you can let me know that you've given the link to someone, so that when we see them come on, we know that they're a legitimate entry into the Zoom. And that way we protect ourselves against Zoom bombing.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. And it always helps when we see a name and not just a phone number. So if people could remember that.
I wanted just to mention that we had a very successful picnic last July 11th, organized by Don. I think we most probably will have another one. So we'll definitely have a picnic in the summer. That's most probably, it's automatic now because of the success we had last time. So hopefully we'll see you there if it's not before that.
And I'd be happy to arrange it if you wanted to use the battleground again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that worked out well.
It was a wonderful day. So I would love to see even more guys there. But we did have, probably close to 100 people total?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And food for 500.
Yes.
Right.
But it does book pretty early. So if that's our intention, we should at least start narrowing down potential dates.
Let's make that an item for our next meeting. For the board meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one thing, since our next speaker is going to be from the museum in Philadelphia, I was wondering if we could ask, Oded mentioned Ellen Schimberg, and she will be the one coordinating our trip on May 1st. And she's going to be coordinating a lot of events for the JCC in the coming months. Can we ask her to make perhaps a brief presentation and coordinate it with the guy from the museum? You can get the information, her email from Oded, or you can email me. I have her email, and have her do 5 minutes of what she's doing, as Oded suggested.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, please, David, please get in touch with me. Her name is Ellen Schimberg, and you can get the contact information from me, from Oded, but it's eschimberg@JFED-SNJ. Very lovely lady. She'll be very helpful to us.
You might want to spell Schimberg.
Schimberg.
The Italian version.
Correct.
So one more thing. I would like to compliment David for doing an outstanding job. We keep having just top-notch speakers, and it's really wonderful that we were able to get these people. And David, you're doing a phenomenal job with that.
You should get a raise.
So you're saying, Dave, we can't fire him?
No, we have to give him a raise.
Thank you very much.
Dave's on a multi-year contract.
I'm blushing. Thank you.
And we're talking about the 5 best reasons to join. For me, the number one reason is because we do have a steady supply of great speakers month after month. Mm-hmm. The food is nice, but I think it's the speakers and the discussions we have that really make the club worthwhile.
Since we're talking about reasons to join something, and since we're talking about having someone from the museum in, I don't know how many of you are members of the Jewish Museum in Philadelphia, but for $72, you could have a membership for yourself and your wife or your significant other. And it's a wonderful, wonderful way of supporting the Jewish community and perpetuating Yiddishkeit. So that's what I wanted to say.
Be well.
Take care.
Thank
Have
you.
some locks and think of us.
Enjoy football today.